My dear student, Assalamu alaikum. Hope you are well. I'm also fine by the grace of Almighty Allah. Here I am Aminur Rahman, Senior Teacher, Milestone College, Uttara Dhaka, welcoming you to our today's lecture, Class 8, Subject Bangladesh and Global Studies, Chapter 3, Lesson 1 and 2. Today is the lecture number 12. Okay, my dear, today we are going to learn a very important and interesting topics that is related with our practical life. What we are, what we have, what we are doing for our smooth livelihood, what we are doing. Okay, first question I asked you what we are. That means we are the best creation of Almighty, isn't it? Yes. Then we doing many things for our survive, for our existing, for making our life comfortable. We are doing many things. We invent many tools, machineries, or many things. That is that we have. Think what we are going to learn today. Okay. Let's see a video clip on it. What had you seen? Yes, there are some elements of our culture, and that elements are changing day by day. The word is culture. What is the culture? That means what we are. At the beginning of the lecture, I told you what we are. We are man, the best creation of Almighty, for our smooth living. What we are doing, what we are doing. Look, suppose that the dress, the language, the houses, house accommodation, that we are doing for our to make our life comfortable. What we are doing, that is our culture. So we in video lecture we have seen different element of culture, and these elements are changing day by day. Look, in the picture you can see the two types of house. It's the two types of house. Look, one types of house is very poor, maybe 200 years ago. That types of house were very familiar in the every villages or every area of our country. But in the second picture, what can you see? Second picture, the building. And this building is a very common building nowadays, or this sort of building, or big built house are very common nowadays. My dear, that means ancient time or 100 years ago or 200 years ago, we, the Bengali people, used to live in mud house. We used to live in tin shed house. We used to live in very simple house. But now, many people of us are living these kinds of modern house. This is the change of our housing. Another things, look in dress code. In ancient, what was our dress? But nowadays, what is our dress? Look at me and you also. What kind of the dress get up we are using? This also changes. That means two elements of culture we have here we explained. One the housing, another one is dress. Even our language. Even the language. If you go through the literature part or literature things, you will find out a lot of vast dissimilarities between the two ages, or when the middle ages of language or literature. Suppose that in Bangla language, in Bangla literature, Chorjapad was the first stage of our literature. In Chorjapad, the language of Chorjapad and the language of your books nowadays in Bangla books, it's not same. That means its language also changes. My dear, from this example of the housing, example of the dress, example of the language, and etc., what can you get? Yes, as our culture is changing day by day and it's developing day by day. So now, can you tell me which lesson we are going to learn today? Yes, it's a cultural change and the development of Bangladesh. Okay, by culture we generally mean the way of our living. It means culture is our way of life. My dear, what we are, at the beginning of the class I asked you what we are and what we are doing, that is our culture. Look, the people of the society are doing many things. Surrounding of your society or our society, people are doing many things. What they are doing, that is their culture. Let's see the classification of culture. Culture is two types. One is the material culture and another one is the abstract culture. Okay, material culture, that means the cultural elements we can see, we can touch, we can exchange, even we can sell, buy or exchange. That is the elements of material culture, and that is the material culture. For example, look the house, then furnitures, then the production instruments, vehicles, etc. These are the material culture. The next one is abstract culture. My dear, abstract culture as a culture element of the combination of the element of such types of culture that we can see, we can touch, but we can feel. So what is this? Can you tell? Yes, skill, knowledge, thought, beliefs, behaviors, music, literature, art, etc. are the abstract element of culture. So think in our culture, Bengali culture, we have both elements. Material cultural elements we have and the abstract cultural element also we have. Okay, the house where we are living, the dress we are wearing, the furnitures we are using, the accommodation where we are living, the vehicles we are using, that is the part of our material culture. Look, and the belief we have, the skill we have, the knowledge we have, you have the knowledge, the beliefness you have, the thought you have, the music we hear, different kind of music, folk song, Rabindra song, Nazrul song, Lalon song, different kinds of Bengali song we hear. That is the literature part. That is our material elements of our culture. My dear, for example, we told about the housing. Let's see, look, there's two kinds of house. One house built in 200 or 100 years ago, and another house was built in very recent, after our liberation, or the before liberation, and present age, recent age. There is a far difference among their lifestyle. That is the difference between our material culture. Another things, look, the livelihood. For the livelihood, our ancient time, our people were used to live in cultivation or catching fish and so on profession. But now look, especially the difference in the women's work. At ancient time, what the women's in our Oman, Bengali Oman, what they were housewife. They don't have much work in outside, but now they are working in factory, mills factory, bank. Even they are working in as a pilot, doctor, etc. In different profession, you will find them. At that time, their beliefs also change. At that time, their thought also change. That is the cultural change. Their profession is not same. Is it same? No, their profession is not same. It changes. Due to their life and livelihood, they change their daily commodities and consuming goods. It's also bring the change in their thoughts. People invent many things, many tools, weapons, and then the new ways of work, and these are called the cultural development. So my dear, our culture, is it the stable, or our culture is stand in one place? No, our culture is changing. Look, even the students of English version, before independent, when we were in Pakistan period, this tradition was not much like this. That means we had the student have no much opportunity to learn English. Our education system had been changed, and everything are changing for the people's need or requirement. That is the change of culture, and it's day by day it's developed. Undoubtedly, it's developed. On the previous, you have learned also, we have learned about the life standard of the people between two era or two times. What was the ancient farmers or the people, how they passed their time, now how they pass their time. 100 years back, what women or the women of our country, what they were doing, but now what are they doing? You will find a lot of difference, and this is a lot of changes and development also. That is cultural development. Okay, now go to lesson 1. Lesson 1, that means the cultural change and the development idea of Bangladesh. Man lives together, is a social being. It can't live alone. They can't live alone. For their requirement, for their livelihood, they need the help of others. They want to live togetherly in a society. He creates many things. That means men create many things to meet their demand. All his creative work, that means all the creative work of man is culture. The form of culture varies in terms of the society and place. That means the culture we are practicing, the cultural element we have, the culture we are practicing. I'm telling you again, my dear, the cultural element we have, what a culture we are practicing, are the whole world are practicing the same culture? Absolutely not. In each and every nation, each and every country, they have the own characteristics of their culture. They have own idea, they have another separate beliefs, they have their own thought. They practice their culture, their housing, their accommodation, their food habit, their language, etc. are not similar with us. It's differ place to place, country to country. Look, this is the housing, the picture of USA or European countries, and this is the picture of our countries. So their living standard, their dress up, their housing accommodation are same? Obviously not. The people of USA or people of Europe or people of another country, they practice their own culture. And people of Bangladesh, we practice our culture. Culture of these two countries is not same. That means culture, these two countries' culture are not same. That means cultural various, it's depend on time, situation or place, it changes. Our culture is not static in a place. It's also improved or it's also changed. Our culture also change in keep patch with the time, environment, atmosphere. That means our culture has been changed in British period, in Pakistan period, in present also. That means to keep patch with the time, that means to adjust with the time, our culture change. Maybe it's positive, its change may be negative. If the positive changes occurred, that is development. If the negative changes occurred, it's not called development, rather than it's cultural destruction. Culture is transformed from one generation to another. Again, culture may change coming to touch with another culture. This is called cultural change. Suppose that you went, suppose that you're a student of class 8 now. In future, maybe someone of you will go to abroad, USA, America or Canada or Germany, any other first world country you will go for higher education. What you will do there? You will stay here for a long time, 4 years, 5 years, 2 years, many courses you will stay there. At that time, you must have to adjust with the new environment. You must have to adjust with this new environment, atmosphere, new food habit, etc. Haven't you? Obviously, you have to do this. This you have to adjust with the new environment. This way also cultural change. Whatever the culture is not static. Generally, development means anything that attains the fulfillment gradually from the start. There was a time when development means expected economic development, economic change and progressment. Is it clear to you? Once upon a time, it was thought that development means only economic development, economic progressment. But according to the sociologist, development means the overall development of the society. So, real development refers to the improvement of the people's standard of living. Usually, development or social development is a kind of social change. As a social development causes the cultural change. Also, cultural change bring about the development. For example, use of tractor in place of plow is a matter of cultural change. My dear, look. In ancient or 1 or 200 years ago, this was the system of our cultivation. You know, maximum people of our country were dependent on agriculture. and some other profession were there, fishing, then pottering, or some very this is the real picture of our ancient culture. Especially in agricultural sector, the farmer use handmade tools. These handmade tools they use for their cultivation. This system they were used to irrigate their land, or for good production they have to wait for the nature. But nowadays, for the improvement of the science technology, people use science technology and scientific tools method in agriculture. Now the people of our country, the farmers of us, people using tractors and pump for irrigation, and different kinds of way, scientific way they are cultivating, the different kinds of machineries they are using for collecting, for harvesting the crops. I told you in past time only agriculture were the main way of livelihood, but look, various different types of profession nowadays we have. Different types of occupation, our people doing business, home and abroad, etc. There is the cultural change. The result of using modern technology, scientific method in agriculture, the production of agriculture increased, which improved the people's living standard of us. Thus, cultural and social development combinedly improve our society. Is it clear? That means if cultural development is occurred, then social development will be occurred. That means social development is what cultural development also be happened. These two are interrelated. Okay. Now, my dear, lesson 2. In lesson 2, we will learn the social change and the characteristics of development. Okay, we have learned social change and development from the above lesson. In lesson 1, we have learned about the social change and the development. But now let's see some social change and characteristics of the development. My dear, what is the aim of the development? The main aim of the development is to improve the living standard of the life of the people, life of the society. That is main aim of the development is to improve the living standard of all people of the society. To reduce our eradicating expectation and the discrimination, and to use knowledge for the welfare of the human beings. So, development of the knowledge and technology indicates the development of the culture. That means cultural change is the characteristics of development. So, okay, number 2, abstract culture does not change so fast as material culture does. My dear, at the beginning of the class, I explained the elements of abstract culture. I explained the elements of material culture. I am telling you again, abstract culture, the elements of abstract culture, that means the skill, the belief, the behaviors, the thought, the knowledge, etc. And the element of the material culture is dress, house, food, and the furniture, then the vehicles, etc. So, look, if you want to change the furniture of your house, you can change it overnight. Isn't it? Isn't it possible to change the all furniture of your house within 1 day or 2 days? It's possible. Undoubtedly, it's possible. Okay, if you want to change any habit, any thought, any beliefness, any skill, it's impossible to do it overnight. Suppose that a rickshaw puller, and another one is IT specialist or engineer. Rickshaw puller don't have much knowledge, but doctor has much knowledge on medicine or another field. These two are same. So can you change their belief, change their habit, change their behaviors overnight? No. But their dress may be changed within short time. That means abstract culture doesn't change so fast as material culture does. So number 3, when basic need of a man is fulfilled, society improves and development is expedited. So changes are found in different levels of the society. Here look, when the basic need of us will be fulfilled, then after fulfilling the basic need, then the people buy or the use the money or spend the money for make their life more comfortable. First of all, we want to fulfill the basic need, then we try to make our life more comfortable. This is the nature of man, this is the nature of us. That's why the cultural change also happened. So okay, number 4, characteristics of cultural change and development is that change does not always gradually go upward in a straight line. Sometimes cultural change does downward. So both upward and downward movement are called cultural change. One is positive and another one is negative. One is positive change and another one is negative change. But development indicate upward or the positive change. So cultural change is the positive change in culture. For example, due to satellite culture, we have both positive and negative changes. The positive change can be defined as a cultural development. And number 5, both cultural change and development take place within a time limit. This is another trade of change. For example, Old Stone Age and New Stone Age are two different periods, and this Old Stone Age and New Stone Age, there is a lot of difference. The tools, the house accommodation, the livelihood of Old Stone Age and the lifestyle of New Stone Age, you will find out a lot of difference. Their weapon, their living style, their standard of living, a lot of difference is there. That means cultural development and change happened in a time limit. Okay, the characteristics of our cultural change and development. Now this is the time to asking you some questions that what did you get from the lesson. Okay, what is called cultural change? What is called cultural change? Okay, question number 2, what is called cultural development? Question number 2, what is called cultural development? Question number 3, what is called social change? What is the aim of the development? Question number 4, what is the aim of development? My dear, now time for homework. Today our homework number is 7. Question number 1, what do you understand by the cultural development? Explain it. Then question number 2, how the cultural change and development idea are connected together? Explain it. My dear, after writing the homework, after completing your homework, send the pic of your answer script to the respective subject teacher. Thank you very much.